Hashtag Trending would like to thank Meter for their support in bringing you this podcast. Meter delivers a complete networking stack, wired, wireless, and cellular, in one integrated solution that's built for performance and scale. You can find them at meter.com/HTT. ChatGPT traffic is slipping, and the numbers show Google gaining real ground. Anthropic targets healthcare, extending Claude's challenge to OpenAI. A script to remove Copilot from Windows is going viral. And McKinsey says it has 40,000 employees and 25,000 AI agents. Welcome to Hashtag Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. New data, based on an analysis from SimilarWeb, shows traffic to ChatGPT is down 21% over a 6-week period. And while ChatGPT still leads overall in usage, the data suggests its growth curve has flattened. And at the same time, Google's Gemini is showing steady gains. SimilarWeb estimates that Gemini now accounts for about 20% of global chatbot usage, up from roughly 12% last year. More striking is where that growth came from. In early December, Gemini is estimated to have cannibalized 30 to 33% of ChatGPT's traffic, rising to nearly 39 to 40% by the end of the month. The broader field remains smaller, but it's no longer irrelevant. Grok crossed the 3% market share and is closing in on DeepSeek, which has about 3.7%. Perplexity and Claude are holding steady at about 2%. But Microsoft's Copilot trails at roughly 1.1%. And that's despite more than $10 billion invested, deep integration across Windows and Microsoft 365, and access to hundreds of millions of users. It's a gap that's difficult to explain away, even accounting for SimilarWeb's web-centric measurement approach. Engagement tells another important part of the story. Gemini users spend more time per visit, averaging 7 minutes and 20 seconds, compared with 6 minutes and 32 seconds on ChatGPT. Page views are also higher, at 4.3 pages per visit for Gemini versus 3.8 for ChatGPT. Fewer users, but deeper sessions. And all of that still understates Google's position. Gemini is only one surface for Google's AI. Much of its usage now happens invisibly inside search itself, and Google controls roughly 90% of the global search market. When AI is baked into the default tool people already use all day, that usage never shows up in chatbot charts. Taken together, the numbers point to more than a temporary wobble. Gemini is growing, engagement is strong, and a measurable share of that growth is coming directly at OpenAI's expense. Combined with Google's distribution advantage, this may be one of the clearest signals yet that competitive pressure on OpenAI is no longer theoretical. It may be time for another red alert inside OpenAI. But another competitive threat is also emerging for OpenAI. According to Business Insider, Anthropic has launched Claude for Healthcare about a week after OpenAI rolled out its own healthcare-focused ChatGPT experience. Anthropic is framing this as a practical product, not a demo. The company says that Claude for Healthcare is designed to reduce administrative work and help clinicians and patients better understand medical information. The tools are powered by recent improvements to the company's flagship model, Claude Opus 4.5, which Anthropic says performs significantly better than earlier versions on simulated medical and scientific tasks while showing fewer factual errors. The really concrete change is connectivity. As part of the healthcare expansion, Claude can now connect directly to several industry-standard databases. This includes the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services Coverage Database, ICD-10 medical coding data, the National Provider Identifier Registry, and PubMed's Biomedical Research Library. Anthropic says these connectors allow Claude to quickly surface relevant information, support prior authorization workflows, and help clinicians and administrators generate reports more efficiently. And there's a pattern worth paying attention to. Where Claude has deliberately gone after a specific segment, most notably coding, it has consistently punched above its weight. It hasn't just competed, it's held a leadership position in real-world use, even against much larger rivals. If Anthropic can repeat that playbook in healthcare, a market defined by safety, trust, and workflow depth, this isn't just incremental competition. It becomes yet another serious front opening against OpenAI. A script designed to strip Microsoft Copilot and other AI features out of Windows is making the rounds online, and its popularity says a lot about how some users really feel about Microsoft's AI push. The script, featured in a report by the Register, removes Copilot, disables AI-backed features, and blocks related services at the system level. What's striking isn't just that the script exists, it's how enthusiastically it's being shared. Copilot is meant to be a flagship feature for Microsoft, tightly woven into Windows and promoted as a productivity booster. Instead, a segment of power users sees it as intrusive, unnecessary, or simply not something they asked for. For them, the script is less about tinkering and more about reclaiming control. But here's something that matters for security professionals and those who want to protect corporate security. The script requires bypassing built-in protections and running unsigned code with elevated privileges. That's a hard stop for anyone who works in cybersecurity. Disabling safeguards to remove an annoyance is exactly how systems get compromised, even when the intent is benign. So while the script may be a genuine signal of frustration with Copilot and Microsoft's AI strategy, the ending matters. If something requires you to weaken your security posture to install it, that's a risk most professionals would never accept. And if you're still seriously considering changes at that level, the advice is simple. Get someone who understands the code and the security implications before you touch it. When McKinsey talks about AI agents, it's not theoretical. According to Business Insider, McKinsey now describes itself as having roughly 40,000 employees and 25,000 AI agents working alongside them. These agents are already handling work that once fell to junior consultants. That includes research, data analysis, preparing first versions of client deliverables, and of course, for McKinsey, drafting slides, the traditional entry-level work inside elite consulting firms. And that matters because consulting at this level is already intensely competitive. As a former Big Four consultant, I can tell you, getting hired is hard, advancing from analyst to senior roles is harder, making partner is harder still. The industry has always relied on a large number of junior cohorts doing foundational work as they learn the business. Adding the equivalent of 25,000 digital workers into that system changes the math in a very real way. McKinsey frames this as efficiency and leverage, and for clients, that might be appealing. But there are caution lights flashing. Other firms have already stumbled using AI in high-stakes advisory work, and even if McKinsey itself hasn't been at the center of those fumbles, as AI agents take on more responsibility, the margin for error narrows quickly. There's also a revenue question lurking underneath this. When a client can type, "Give me a strategy," into their own AI and compare it instantly to what McKinsey or another company delivers, the bar rises dramatically. Consulting firms will have to bring judgment, insight, and execution that clearly go beyond what an off-the-shelf model can produce. As a fellow of the Institute of Certified Management Consultants, I want to make sure that I highlight that many consultants, particularly those in Canada using the CMC designation, are well-trained, ethical, and committed to their clients' success. But I do have to point out that AI may be prompting a reinvention of what management consulting firms actually are. Consulting, as an industry, is about 100 years old and due for a major transformation. AI agents don't just challenge its staffing model. They challenge the very idea of how advice is created, packaged, and sold. And that's our show. Once again, we'd like to thank Meter for their support in bringing you this podcast. Meter delivers full-stack networking infrastructure, wired, wireless, and cellular to leading enterprises. Working with their partners, Meter designs, deploys, and manages everything required to get performant, reliable, and secure connectivity in a space. They design the hardware, the firmware, build the software, and manage deployments and run support. It's a single integrated solution that scales from branch offices, warehouses, and large campuses all the way to data centers. Book a demo at meter.com/HTT. We always love to hear from you. You can reach me at technewsday.ca or .com. Either one works. Use the Contact Us tab, and while you're there, maybe check out our new and improved news site. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a note under the video, or hunt me down on LinkedIn. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a wonderful Wednesday.